The reason the Chiefs are the underdogs moving, the reason the line has moved so much is because of Patrick Mahomes' ankle. I don't think I need to tell anybody listening to that that's why. There have been some updates from Andy Reid in some capacity about the ankle. There's really not a ton you're going to be able to glean, but there definitely is some interesting updates. Patrick Mahomes, I think the most interesting one, the ankle injury for Mahomes isn't as, this is coming from Rob Collins from Fox 4KC. Chiefs head coach Andy Reid, the ankle injury for Mahomes isn't as bad as it was in 2019. It's sore, but not quite the same. If you were going to get any kind of update on a high ankle sprain where it's not as bad as 2019, I mean, like that's about as good of a report as you can hear, Matt.
It is. I'm torn on this, right? The information is what I want to hear. The information being told to us is exactly what I want to hear as a fan to make me feel good that he's going to be able to go out there and at the very least make every throw. His ankle's going to be fine to torque into any throw he needs to from any angle. He should be able to, if this is the case, should be able to at least move around the pocket and evade a couple rushers. Maybe not take off and run, but evade some players, right? That's what you want to hear. The problem I have with this is, why are you pushing this so hard? Why are the Chiefs pushing so hard that he feels just fine? Just the back, the hairs in the back of my neck are going up every time I read a new little news bit about he's doing great. He's feeling good. Tomorrow we're going to hear that he's pushing a sled or sprinting uphill. And it's just like, I don't know about this. Like I'm a little nervous that they are trying to oversell the health. Like it's a high ankle sprain. We all saw it. That thing sucks. That's gonna suck. We don't have to downplay how bad it'll suck. If anything, even if he's feeling good, you want the Bengals to think he's limited. You want them to think he's not feeling good. So the fact that they are so pushing out this narrative so hard that he's fine, maybe it's inspiring some fans, and that's more of what they're going for. But I don't know. It's a weird game plan to me if you're trying to show a little bit of gamesmanship to the Bengals, and it makes me wonder if they aren't, and the ankle isn't that great.
I mean, if you listen to Andy, and Andy's the one that's going to have the true gamesmanship here. Andy Reid said Monday, the Chiefs aren't certain whether or not they're going to be able to go with Mahomes or have to use Chad Henne as quarterback on Sunday. There's your gamesmanship right there. I know Mahomes said he was going to play, but, Andy's saying, that's his mindset. We're going to take it day by day and see how he does. That more is in line with what we're used to seeing from Andy Reid with injuries. That's more in line with that sort of stuff. I think the stuff that we were hearing leaking out about his health, things like that, the ankle's great, all of that. Who knows? Maybe that's coming from Mahomes' camp because he's just sitting there and he's going, I'm going to play. I want to play. I want this to be out there. I want to make it hard for them to try and tell me that I can't be in the game, because we saw the reaction of him on the sideline. He wanted to be in that game the entire time. He did not want to go back and get that x-ray. He did not want to sit on the sidelines for the entire Chad Henne drive. That's not at all what he was interested in. So to hear that, it makes me think it's coming from a Mahomes camp, especially since Andy Reid's sitting there going, well, who knows? Maybe it's going to be a Chad week. No, it's not going to be a Chad week. We all know it's not going to be a Chad week. So I think that it's more status quo from that standpoint. And maybe we're hearing a little bit of the behind-the-scenes stuff from the Mahomes side.
I think there's just a lot of mixed signals being thrown out there, and that's probably not a bad thing, because like even Andy Reid at one point did say like, well, he's playing. I mean, it's like Mahomes isn't letting that. This isn't happening. Yeah. It's kind of just interesting to hear just kind of all of these different signals being thrown out, and that might be a little bit of the gamesmanship too. But I think just Andy Reid comparing the ankle severity to 2019 is the thing that just sticks with me the most, because we know that, Patrick Mahomes was able to play through that injury and ankle injury. In fact, I looked it up. 30 of 44, 443 yards and 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. The game immediately following that high ankle sprain that he sustained in that game. So it's like, okay, like if we're anticipating that happening, like sign me up. Like, sure. Yeah, maybe you should play with a high ankle sprain every game. No,
do you stop?
I'm not, I would never wish that evil on anybody. But I just found that kind of interesting. I found that kind of interesting that we're getting kind of all these updates. As for I know there's going to be plenty of time to talk about what Mahomes can or can't do, but and me and Maddie kind of talked about that a little bit with we kind of started kind of learning some things here and there about you know the Chiefs matchup and getting some updates here and there on the ankle, but you know, do we think that they alter the game plan drastically? And I know we'll get into some of the bigger stuff, but like just high level, do we think they're altering the game plan too drastic? Because I'll just tell you, I have an article posting tomorrow on KC Sports Network Substack, which you can hit the subscribe button, you can go subscribe and go pay for it. I think the Chiefs need to burrow him a little bit. I think Mahomes needs to be more intentional about getting the ball out of his hands at the top of his drop. I think the Chiefs need to try to find some opportunities to get the ball out of his hands quick. I think there's some clear routes for them to be able to do that. I think that's a piece of the formula for how this team needs to handle an injured Patrick Mahomes.
Probably, right? I mean, no matter what happens, if he's limited, if Patrick Mahomes can't run around like he normally can do, like, yeah, the game plan has to change. Not that Andy isn't a great schemer on any given week, but there's still a lot of times where I think he gives a pretty long leash to Mahomes on a lot of the stuff to know that if Mahomes doesn't hit the first read right on time is the way the play's designed up, he's probably going to make it work. And Mahomes plays into that. I think Andy lets that happen. So there's a lot of not freelancing, but there's freedom there in that play to kind of just go with your gut feeling on the play. That stuff does kind of have to go away a little bit if Mahomes is not 100% mobile, or not even 100%, but if he's not able to evade some of the rushers, if he's not able to get out in space and attack the line of scrimmage to create new throwing angles and get guys and create, open players. So if that's not there, yeah, there has to be a lot more structure. And part of that goes into Andy and the offensive coaching staff. I'd say more of it's Patrick Mahomes, though. We've seen him go through games where he plays very on structure. It's very much take the snap, hit the drop, balls out. Take the snap, hit the drop, balls out. We've seen him do that throughout the time with the Chiefs. So yeah, there has to be an emphasis on doing that. And I do think that changes how an opposing defense would want to play the Chiefs. Like schematically, you can no longer just do this soft shell, keep everything in front of you, or the Chiefs will kind of nickel and dime you and paper cut you all the way down the field. So it will change things if that's the case. It's just, if you're the Bengals, are you ready to risk that he's not normal Patrick Mahomes and start to alter your game plan until you see it? Like, you have to come out, I think, and respect what he has been throughout his entire career, but you also have to spend some time this week working on what your adjustments are going to be, because I think he's shown it this year. He's willing to take your 5-yard passes all the way down the field a lot more frequently than he has been in the past.
Yeah, for sure. And they've got some of the receiving weapons to be able to capitalize on some of that. Now, it's not just a vertical passing game. It's not just taking deep shots. It's not taking even those longer intermediate shots. He's fine with doing all that, and they're fine running a few more bubbles, running the screen game a little bit more, and reacting a little bit. Just, Andy, if you're listening right now, please, God, abandon the under center stretch run game, please. Right this very moment, write it out of the playbook right now. Watching that man try and get to the running back to hand the ball off this past week against the Jaguars, and I realize he's probably going to be feeling better. At the very least, he's not going to be feeling anything in that ankle by the time they get all the Toradol or whatever in there. I mean, just get rid of those, because it wasn't working. It wasn't getting the job done. Everybody knew what it was immediately upon him showing up and basically getting under center. So abandon that. Walk away from that. If you have to rely on that, if he is so hurt, yes, play some of the shorter stuff. Rely on some of that, and then try and take an occasional deep shot. You still have to trust that you can take the occasional deep shot. The Bengals are going to bring pressure. They just absolutely are. They know essentially they're one good hit on Mahomes from potentially taking him out of the game. Not necessarily malicious. I'm not saying that they're going to be targeting an ankle or anything.
Oh, I will.
Oh, no, I've seen Trey Hendrickson alligator roll into a lot of ankles.
Those are some dirty dudes. That's the only way they've been able to get to the level of success they've had, is being a little dirty. So yeah, they're coming after Mahomes' ankle.
One might say fraudulent.
The fraudulents are coming after the ankle, 100%.
Protect the man, because he's going to want to run around. He's going to want to create. Even if he's hurt, he's going to want to try and keep going. We've seen it. He is a stubborn individual, and that, I mean that in the best possible way. So try and take some of that out of him, try and convince him, hey, if you're going to play, this is the game plan and this is what we're going to roll out with, and then see what you can do with that before you start making massive tweaks.